tax revenue receipt. It is compulsory payment to the government by individuals, households or firms without any corresponding return. Without any corresponding return means what? Say for example, Mr. X has paid rupees 10,000 in the form of tax. Now he should not expect that he should get the benefit of rupees 10,000 from the government's side. That is without any corresponding return. It is compulsory payment 10,000 rupees to the government, but a person should not expect anything in return or corresponding return from the government side. That is tax revenue receipt. Tax revenue receipt, as it do not affect the assets and liabilities of the government, they fall under the category of revenue receipts. Okay. Now the features of the tax revenue receipts. It is compulsory payment. A person has to pay it compulsory. Second feature, it is spent by the government for public welfare. The government is spending the amount of tax for welfare. Third point, there is no direct relation between the tax and the benefit that a person is getting. It means no corresponding return. Okay, if a person is paying tax, he should not expect the same amount of returns from the government. And point number 4, it is personal responsibility. A person is personally responsible for paying the tax. And last, it is legally imposed. Now, that was a small understanding about the tax receipts, tax revenue receipts. Now there are two types of tax, direct tax and indirect tax. Now let's see the difference of direct tax and indirect tax. Direct tax are those tax which are paid by the person on whom it is imposed. For example, tax is imposed on Mr. Y, then Mr. Y only has to pay the tax. He cannot shift the burden to someone else. That is paid by the person on whom it is imposed. Now in indirect tax, it is imposed on one person but it is paid by another person. So here, if the tax is imposed on one person, it is paid by some other person. So here the burden of tax is shifted. So our second point is direct tax cannot be shifted to other person, but indirect taxes are shifted to another person. Number 3, direct taxes are progressive in nature. Now, progressive in nature means what? In our country, if a person is earning more, he has to pay more tax. For example, if a person's income is 3 lakhs rupees, he has to pay 10% as tax. But if his earnings are more, say 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs, he has to pay more tax, as in more percentage of amount is to be paid, 15% or 20%, whereas indirect taxes are regressive in nature. Example of direct tax is income tax, and example of indirect tax is GST. So once again the difference, everyone, it is paid by the person on whom it is imposed, it cannot be shifted, they are progressive in nature, and income tax is the example. Now here, imposed on one person but paid by another person, it is shifted to another person, they are regressive in nature, and example is GST. Now let's talk about non-tax receipts. These also are those receipts of the government which do not affect the assets and liabilities. So they fall under the category of revenue receipts. These are the receipts of the government other than the tax. Example, fees paid to the government, say vehicle registration fees, license fees, penalties, if anyone is paying to the government, interest paid. These are those receipts of the government which do not affect the assets and liabilities, and they are non-tax receipts. Okay, let's talk about different types of non-tax receipts in detail. Let's start with the fees. The main source of revenue for the government. Fees is the main source of revenue for the government when we talk about non-tax receipts. Okay, that is the main source. Okay, point number 2, it is compulsory payment. It is charged by the government for the service rendered by the government. government is rendering certain services to us. In return, you need to pay certain charges, and that are fees. Say for example, birth certificate fees, land registration fees, license fees, etc., etc. These are certain fees paid to the government, and they are non-tax receipts. The second non-tax receipt is fines and penalties. Fines and penalties are paid by those persons who break the law. Now, how much amount of fees or penalties a person has to pay? It depends upon the offense that he has done. Number 3, special assessment. It's a new terminology. Non-tax receipts. Special assessment. It is paid by the owner of those properties whose value has appreciated due to the developmental activities of the government. Say for example, a person owns a land of 2000 square feet. Now near that land some government activity is being carried out. It is because of that the value of that person's land has appreciated. Now certain amount of money is being paid by the owner of that property. The amount that which is paid by him, it is special assessment. Number 4, it is escheat. Simple. Again a new term, escheat. It is the income of the government from those properties who does not have any legal representative. Say there is any property, and if it belongs to no one, or there is no legal representative of that property, then that property belongs to the government. That is again non-tax receipts. All these non-tax receipts do not affect the assets and liabilities. Number 5, gifts and grants. If government receives the gifts and grants from some other country, it is also a non-tax receipt. It is not permanent in nature. For example, if there is any natural calamity, then one country helps to another country. Okay, that is gifts and grants given by one country to another country. Again falls under the category of non-tax receipts. Number 6, income from PSUs, public sector units. There are certain government sectors, say railways or Indian Oil, etc. The profit which is being earned by those sectors also fall under the category of non-tax receipts. Number 7, interest on loan. If government has given loan to some other country, and the interest which the government is receiving by giving that loan also falls under the category of non-tax receipts. Okay. And last is forfeitures of bond. Forfeitures matlab cancellation. See, if there is any cancellation of any agreement or contract, that is known as forfeiture of bonds. Now, if there is some cancellation or breach or something which is not according to the rule, then penalties are being imposed by the court for the non-fulfillment of that contract or agreement. Such income for the government is also non-tax receipts. Again, this is a non-tax receipt for the government, as it do not affect the assets and liability of the government. Okay, the whole topic of revenue receipt is done. Now let's talk about capital receipts. Capital receipts are those estimated receipts of the government which affects the assets and liabilities. Now here the topic that we are going to discuss will affect the government's assets or liability. Either it will affect the assets or it will affect the liabilities. 3 points here under the category of capital receipts: borrowings, recovery of loans, and other receipts. Let's start with the borrowings. When government borrows money, it is the liability of the government, so it falls under the category of capital receipts. As it affects the assets and liability, it will fall under the category of capital receipt. Here borrowing affects the liability only. Okay, so it affects the liability, so it falls under the category of capital receipts. Now, from where the government can borrow money? The government can borrow money from general public, from RBI, from rest of the world. In all the cases, liability is created, so it falls under the capital receipt. The second capital receipts, recovery of loans. As you all know, debtors are the assets Now here, as we are talking about government, we will talk from the viewpoint of government only. Debtors are the assets of the government. See, for example, if government has given loan to some country and the recovery of loan is done, then the assets are actually reduced, the debtors are actually reduced. If the loan is recovered, it leads to decrease in debtors, so assets get affected. Here asset is affected, so it falls under the category of capital receipts. Anything or any receipt which affects the assets and liability will fall under the category of capital receipts. Now last, other receipts, say, or disinvestment. Now, when disinvestment happens, disinvestment occurs when government sells off its shares to private sector. When government is selling the part of shares to the private sector, it causes disinvestment. Again, what happens? Assets of the government reduces. Say, for example, earlier if the government is having 10 assets and disinvestment is done, okay, now the government is having only 8 assets. So the assets are reduced in this case. The government has done disinvestment of 2 sectors. Again, here it reduces the assets, so it affects the assets and liability. Okay. Hope at the end of this session you are very clear with the topic of budget receipts. In the next session we are going to talk about budget expenditure. Thank you. So far we have discussed the topic of components of budget in detail. Now let's have a small, once again, revision of the topic of components of budget. There are 2 components of budget: budget receipts and budget expenditure. Once again, these are those receipts and expenditure of the government which are estimated one, not the actual one. Let's first of all start with the budget receipts. Budget receipt is classified into 2 categories: revenue receipt and capital receipt. Revenue receipts are those estimated receipts of the government which do not affect the assets and liabilities, and capital receipts are those estimated receipts which affects the assets and liabilities of the government. Revenue receipt is further classified into 2 parts: tax receipts and non-tax receipts. Tax is compulsory payment on whom it is imposed. There are 2 types of tax: direct tax and indirect tax. Example of direct tax is income tax, and the example of indirect tax is GST. Now, non-tax. This is again the receipt of the government which do not affect the assets and liabilities, but these are those receipts of the government which is not from the tax. Say, for example, fees which we pay to the government is a non-tax receipt. Fines, penalties, S-cheats, special assessment, these all topics we have discussed in detail in the earlier session. Now, the capital receipts. These are those receipts of the government which affects the assets and liabilities of the government. Say, for example, if government borrows money from some other country, or it borrows from the general public or RBI, it affects the assets and liabilities. Recovery of the loan, again it affects the assets and liabilities. Other receipts, that is disinvestment, it also affects the assets and liabilities of the government. So the whole topic of budget receipts in short we have done. Now, budget expenditure, estimated expenditures. It is classified into 3 categories: revenue receipt, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure; development and non-development expenditure; plan and non-plan expenditure. First of all, revenue expenditure. These are those expenditure of the government which do not affect the assets and liabilities, and capital expenditure are those expenditure which affects the assets and liabilities of the government. Development expenditure. Certain expenditure which are done by the government due to which social or economic development or growth in the country is done. Such expenditure would be termed as development expenditure. And certain expenses done by the government, if there is no development or no growth done in the country, that would be termed as non-development expenditure. For example, expenditure on administration. The expenditure is important, but due to that expenditure, there is no development or growth done in the country. The third and the last step is planned expenditure and non-planned expenditure. Those expenditure which are decided by the government in the central plan, that would be termed as planned expenditure. Say for example, government has already planned that in the fiscal year or the financial year, government is going to incur expenses on education or health, which is already decided, and it is in the central plan, objectives of central plan or mentioned in the central plan, that would be termed as planned expenditure. Certain expenses which the government has not planned, but yet they have to do such expenses, that would be termed as non-planned expenditure. Example, helping the victims in natural calamity, that is expenditure which the government has to do, is compulsory or must, that would be termed as non-planned expenditure. Hope everyone, all the students, by the end of this session you are very clear with the components of budget. The topic is very important from the exam viewpoint. Thank you. Now, the second type of expenditure is development expenditure and the non-development expenditure. See, the name itself suggests something. If the expenditure which the government is doing, and because of that expenditure, if some development is done in the country, that would be termed as development expenditure. The expenditures which are done by the government and no developmental activities are done, in that case it would fall under non-developmental expenditure. Let's see in detail with the definition. These, first of all, development expenditure. These are the expenditures incurred on the economic and social development of the country. Due to this expenditure, economic and social development of the country will happen, or you can say it relates to the growth and development of the country. The expenditure which are done by the government, and because of that, if some economic development is happening or social development is happening, in that case it would be termed as the development expenditure. Or you can say that if some growth is done in the country, in that case it is development expenditure. With example, expenditure on the development of agriculture, on health, on education, and etc. So if government is doing certain expenditure, say the government is establishing certain universities, okay, or more and more hospitals are being established by the government, then that would fall under the category of development expenditure. Now, the non-development expenditure. These are the expenditure incurred on the general services. See, these are also necessary. The expenditure on general services by the government are very important and necessary, but it do not lead to any development. It relates to non-development activities of the government. No development is done in that case. For example, expenditure on defense, which is very important, expenditure on administration, which is also very important, but due to these expenditures, no developmental activities is undertaken. So that is why they fall under the non-development expenditure. Now, the third and the last type of expenditure, plan expenditure and non-plan expenditure. Again, the name itself suggests somewhat the meaning of the topic. Planned expenditure. These are those expenditures which the government has already planned in the central plan of the country, and certain expenditures which are done by the government which are not planned by them, then that would fall under the category of non-plan expenditure. Let's see with the definition, everyone. Plan expenditure. These are those expenditure of the government incurred during the year according to the central plan of the country. The government has already decided that these are the expenditure which the government is going to incur in or during the fiscal year. For example, planned expenditure on health. Government has already decided that in this year the government is doing to incur X amount of expenditure on health, or expenditure on law and order, expenditure on education, which are already planned. The government has already planned certain expenditure that would be termed as planned expenditure. Now the next, non-planned expenditure. These are those expenditure of the government during the year which are not planned in the central government. These are not at all planned. Example, expenditure on earthquake victims or construction of demolished house due to flood. Now these are those expenditure which are never planned. So these fall under the category of non-planned expenditure.